The opening photograph shows a young Tanemura Sensei standing at the gravesite of Takamatsu Tochitsugu Sensei. At that time, the gravestone monument had not yet been completed. Only a wooden memorial post with handwritten kanji stood there instead. This more recent photograph was taken many years later. Between Tanemura Sensei and Kimura Sensei is the completed gravestone of the late Grandmaster Takamatsu. This next photograph shows the envelope of a letter sent by Takamatsu Sensei only months before his passing. Written in that letter were words of encouragement that would help shape the future of Tanemura Sensei's life. Throughout this video, many of the quotes in Japanese spoken by Grandmaster Shoto Tanemura were taken from the Japanese version of this book, Ninpo Buge, Volume 1, Fundamental Taijutsu.
真の忍者は人のため正義のためにやむを得ない場合にのみ忍法を用い悪を制止したのです。
True ninja acted for the sake of society, for the benefit of humanity, and for the sake of justice. Ninpo was used only in unavoidable situations to stop evil deeds. Hosei University. Tanemura Sensei graduated from Hosei University, where he majored in law. With that background, the words of Takamatsu Sensei helped to encourage Tanemura Soke to choose the path of becoming a police officer. That decision would ultimately change the course of Sensei's entire life. Bufū, the wind of martial arts character. More than 2 decades ago, during one of my training trips to Japan, I was studying under Grandmaster Shoto Tanemura at the Hombu Dojo. At the time, I trained with a great deal of intensity. During the execution of one technique, I let out an unnecessarily loud and spirited kiai. As my yelling reverberated across the dojo, Sensei paused for a moment, looked at me, and made it a point to communicate that I needed to be more controlled. Later, at the end of class, Sensei distributed copies of handwritten teachings about Bufū to several of the high-ranked students. As Soke handed one to me, the Grandmaster smiled and jokingly said, "Michael, you need this." Everyone laughed. But over time, I began to realize that there was something much deeper behind that moment. The lesson was not that having spirit itself was wrong. It was about making sure to be appropriate to the situation. True martial arts spirit required balance. This includes control, awareness, restraint, and dignity. In the teaching, Takamatsu referred to this as Bufū, the wind of martial art character. This is the final page of the copy of the handwritten Bufū teaching given to me by Grandmaster Shoto Tanemura more than 20 years ago. Years later, I began to understand that these teachings were not merely philosophical ideas preserved in old writings. They could be seen to play out directly in Tanemura Sensei's own life. For example, in the way that Sensei served others as a police officer, in the way he faced danger with courage, in the way he restrained violence without hatred, and in the way Sensei protected others, even at the risk of his own life. Later, Soke carried these teachings across the world, sharing them with martial artists, police personnel, and tactical units from many countries. So this video is not only about martial arts or about the history of Soke's family. It's an example of how a life well lived can serve as a role model for all of us. The boundary between life and death. There are moments in life when everything changes in an instant. Just before Soke entered university, at the age of 18 years old, Tanemura Sensei was involved in a devastating traffic accident. His small car collided with a massive fire truck, destroying the vehicle. Sensei looked to be critically injured, and at the scene, he was reported dead. The news of his death was sent back to his family. Soon, relatives gathered, believing funeral preparations would soon begin. But in truth, Sensei had survived. Although his face had been injured, and most of it was covered with bandages. When Soke was finally able to return home, even his mother, overwhelmed with grief, did not recognize him at first. But then, after a few moments, she realized that her son was indeed alive. That experience profoundly changed Sensei's view of life. This time he asked himself, why was I allowed to live? Sensei began to reflect deeply on that question. From that point forward, Sensei's determination to live a life helping others became even stronger. Section 1. The Conduct of a Warrior. A warrior must conduct himself with proper etiquette and dignity in all actions. Not departing from the path of humanity is called Bufū, which is proper martial character. Remember past videos where I explained that at 9 years old, Sensei's martial art training began. Under the strict tutelage of his father and relatives, etiquette, perseverance, and responsibility were forged into him daily. On snowy days, on rainy days, even after being knocked down, Sensei always stood back up one more time. Nana korobi, yaoki. If you get knocked down 7 times, get up 8. At the age of 15, Soke received his black belt. At 21 years old, Sensei was presented with his first Minkyo Kaiden, full mastership. After graduating from university, Sensei entered the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. As a young police officer, Sensei served in a neighborhood police box where he deeply connected to the local community. Lost children, missing property, neighborhood disputes, drunken disturbances, and helping the elderly. The police box was not merely a municipal facility. It was a training place where one directly faced the daily reality of the community. For Sensei, the martial arts were never separate from this social responsibility. So before the world knew him as a martial arts teacher, Sensei was first a guardian of the community.
私は今までの警視庁での勤務経験から、また諸外国を回り指導し、あるいは世界の人々との交流の経験から、今こそこの忍法武芸が絶対に必要であると確信したのです。
From my experience serving as an instructor in the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, and from teaching people from all around the world, also from interacting with thousands internationally, I became convinced that now, more than ever, this Ninpo martial art is absolutely necessary. Section 2. Strength without violence. Another teaching from Bufū is that one must deeply guard against becoming violent through uncontrolled emotion and aggression. If one values compassion, warmth, flexibility, and has the resilient nature of bamboo, then true endurance becomes the technique and the real ability. During his police service, Sensei repeatedly faced situations where physical force alone could not solve the problem. Being angry only escalates violence. Being fearful clouds your judgment. Both negative states lead to reckless action that places innocent people in danger. Because Soke experienced this in real-life situations, Sensei came to understand that true strength is not aligned with destructive power. Rather, it is your ability to be in control in the face of adversity. Like the branch of a willow tree, flexible and unbroken in the storm.
忍びの方は、心身四季を守る最高の護身の方であり、武道芸術でもあるのです。
Ninpo protects the body, mind, and subconscious, and so is the highest method of self-protection, both physically and of the heart. It is also a source of Budo known as Ninpo Buge, the art of martial arts. Courage when there is no clear path. Even when there is no clear path, one should display martial courage. Possess the spirit of resolute bravery, like the autumn frost and the blazing sun. Shuso Retsujitsu, autumn frost and blazing sun, is a classical poetic idiom that refers to purity, incorruptibility, and intensity of spirit. During his police service, Sensei faced many life-threatening situations. During one notable incident, Soke's superior officer was captured by a large, violent gang. Numerous armed individuals filled the place where they were holding him. There was no time to hesitate. At that moment, all alone, Sensei acted, not emotionally, not recklessly, rather by using strategic judgment. Later, Sensei explained that he was forced to neutralize multiple armed attackers while breaking through the situation. In one part of the confrontation, a powerful strike hit with such force that an attacker's small weapon remained embedded in Sensei's fist. That day, it was Soke's ability to act correctly under duress that saved his fellow law enforcement officer from harm. That was true martial spirit. Section 4. Protecting others. These two quotes fit perfectly here. Only by protecting and helping the good may one truly be called a warrior. Still, even while assisting the weak and overcoming the strong, one must not be careless or fight out of arrogance. Section 5. The martial art wind across the world. Even after more than 14 years in police service, Sensei's mission did not end. In many ways, the spirit of Bufū had only just begun spreading across the world. After retiring from law enforcement, again and again, Sensei traveled internationally to teach martial arts in dozens of countries. Today, there are branch dojo locations all around the world, including the American, European, Asian, and African continents. Globally, martial artists and law enforcement professionals have experienced Soke's skill and spirit firsthand. But the Grandmaster's purpose is more than just to grow a loyal organization of dedicated students. It's also to answer the questions: what is authentic Japanese martial arts tradition? And what is the true essence of classical martial arts philosophy? Soke's life's work has been to preserve and transmit that truth to the world as fully as possible.
最後に肝心要の方を得得するという極めて幅広く奥行きの深いものなのです。
In the end, the essential goal is to attain the method of Shin-Shin Shin-Gan, divine heart and divine perception. As such, it is something that is extremely far-reaching and profoundly deep. Closing section. Family Legacy of the Grand Master. The life of Grandmaster Shoto Tsuneiza Tanemura is not merely the history of one martial artist. It is also the history of a martial arts tradition carried forward through a family. Hanshi Yoshikazu Okayasu began training under Tanemura Sensei at the age of 7. On October 12, 1980, he officially entered the dojo under his uncle, Grandmaster Shoto Tanemura. Since that time, Okayasu Hanshi has participated in countless demonstrations, videos, and international martial arts events. Okayasu Hanshi has personally experienced the true strength of Tanemura Sensei. His loyal and steadfast character has left a deep impression upon students throughout the world. Meanwhile, Tanemura Sensei's son, Hanshi Kōtaroh Tanemura, began training as soon as he could walk, around the age of 1. Being younger than his cousin, Hanshi Kōtaroh quite literally grew up inside the dojo. Kōtaroh Hanshi studied not only the martial arts techniques themselves, but also he observed how to teach and how to work with different personalities, making connections with people from many different countries. In so many ways, he continually helps to care for foreign students who travel to Japan to train. Both of these masters, just like Soke Tanemura, possess a spirit that is honest, warm, and welcoming. Yet at the same time, they are among the highest skilled and most capable martial arts disciples ever trained under the Grand Master. For myself, whenever I require correction or further instruction, I continue to learn greatly from both Hanshi Okayasu and Hanshi Kōtaroh. Tanemura Sensei was born in 1947. Yet even now, the Grandmaster's skill and power have not diminished. To speak honestly, even today, Sensei can still easily defeat me. And because of this, we are all truly fortunate. Within the Grandmaster's own family, there are members who have thoroughly inherited the Grandmaster's teachings and traditions. Even if someday Tanemura Sensei decides to step back from active teaching, Soke's spirit and martial arts ruha will unquestionably continue into the future. This is the story of the Tanemura family legacy. And it is a history that still continues today.
皆様がこの忍法武芸をやってよかった。人生が豊かになったと心から思えるように私の全身全霊を打ち込んで導かせていただく所存であります。
It is my hope that all of you will sincerely be able to say this. I am so glad that I practiced this Ninpo martial art. My life has indeed become richer. Toward that goal, I, Grandmaster Shoto Tanemura, will devote my entire body and soul to guiding you with my best effort. The comments have generally been disabled. However, now, There's a well-thought-out survey available where you can weigh in on what types of videos you want to see next. Scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description below. I look forward to hearing from you.